Good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa Carlson. I'm the Chief Exec of Canterbury Business Improvement District, and here today with my colleague Rachel, who's our Head of Marketing and Communications. And welcome to this training session today, which we're really excited about. It's tips and tricks for making the most of AI. And we're really pleased to be joined by Siobhan and James from Just a Uniform. They're going to take us through a deep dive into content creation for using AI. We also have a fantastic panel. So we've got Lauren Williams from Howden, that's financial services. We've got Bryony Bishop from BB Communications, and we've got Sinead Hanna, who's a strategic marketing communications consultant. So really looking forward to all the things we're going to cover today. We run training every spring, and we're delighted this year to receive funding from the UK government through UK Shared Prosperity Funding. So Canterbury BID supports businesses in Canterbury City Centre. Through this funding, we're able to open these training sessions out across the whole of the Canterbury district through that funding from Canterbury City Council and the UK government. So grateful for that. And without further ado, I will hand over to Siobhan and James.
Hi there, thanks Lisa. So as Lisa said, we're Siobhan and James, and we're the humans behind Just a Uniform. We've been creating digital content and social media advertisements online now for a number of years, many years in the world of social media. In that time, a lot has changed. We've gone from taking a quick photo and sharing it with the world to full-blown video production. Now, fair to say, I'm sure, like your business, we are constantly evolving and embracing new technologies. And last year, we decided to build a green screen studio and fully embrace AI in our work and productions. And it's now become a vital tool in how we create content. Today, we're going to delve into more about how we use AI, discussing specific programs that we use, looking at the benefits and challenges of using AI technologies, plus show you some examples of how you could possibly use them in your business.
Hi everyone, pleasure to be here. We had a little demonstration video, but unfortunately we've not got sound. But just to quickly go over what this is, it's just a quick demonstration of using a single image. Now the single image was literally Siobhan, okay, and then everything else within this image is AI added, okay, and what we've done is subtracted it to make a quick story. So as you can see, things appear and then disappear, and we can change the complete scene pretty much seamlessly, okay. This was executed really quickly, and this is a fine example of generative AI within creative work, and we're going to hopefully run you through some of those tips and tricks and some of the softwares, but we'll be leading towards really a production suite which we're involved with, and hopefully it will solve many of the problems, issues, pros and cons, let's say, that we're going to raise today. Great.
Fab. So first up, and sort of I suppose the number one reason why a lot of people may use AI in content creation is time saving. AI can streamline the creative process, automate repetitive tasks. Hello, cutting out in Photoshop, James, right? Something that's not very a good use of your time, and enhance overall productivity. As I said, there's no more tedious and extremely time-consuming jobs in the likes of Photoshop, or fix or change areas of your content, and it saves value time that then can be allocated to more creative aspects of our work.
Yeah, so it's hugely beneficial. We've cut down our costs considerably in terms of our output, in terms of, well, not necessarily our output, but what we spend on, let's say, buying props or hiring places to shoot, etc. Pretty much everything that we do now is virtual. Yeah, it's a hugely time saving.
In a way, it's been great for even helping the environment. We used to spend so much money on, I hate to say it, Amazon et al, buying like props to make our sets come to life, and often we need a very quick turnaround with those, and now we don't do that. Now we don't drive miles and miles and miles trying to look for locations, etc. So another thing that we absolutely love about AI is it's a great place to kickstart our ideas. It's a valuable source of inspiration, providing fresh ideas which can help overcome some creative blocks that we have. This applies in both text-based AI formats and text-to-image AI formats. Sometimes you can come up with initial concepts that AI can take in a completely different direction, as seen here on screen. And sometimes it's actually quite wonderful. For this, I wanted to create a Christmas card for our followers, sort of thing, like to say, like, December's here. And it did a way better job than I even could have imagined in my mind.
Yeah,
Right,
so
James, we loved this one.
just to be clear, what you see on screen, this is Siobhan's face embedded into a Midjourney image. Midjourney has embedded face swap capabilities. So, for instance, you could create very creative team photos and things like that, or for posts like social media. And this is done within literally seconds. And it was refined within Photoshop in post, but really the image that came out of Midjourney was absolutely perfect for social media.
I wish I owned those glasses. James, over to AI software and tools.
So yeah, as we said, we use quite a lot of tools. It's increasing the accessibility and affordability of the business. There is cost obviously incurred with these tools at the moment, and it's going up increasingly. We're seeing lots of Midjourney stuff on screen at the moment, and we'll show you a few more examples in a minute.
So a thing that I absolutely adore about using text to image, such as Midjourney, is that I have some pretty wild ideas as a creative. And sometimes those wild ideas can't be made in real life. For example, snow in the UK, it's not really a thing that happens that frequently or is that reliable. And the weather in particular used to be the bane of my life. We used to plan huge shoot days, find locations, and spend a lot of time and money trying to make them work, only to wake up to it being lashing down with rain or not having the snow that I would ideally like. So in the wintertime, I was able to create a snow scene. Now, this is with an older version of Midjourney. Now you can, in version 6, it looks even more realistic. You can make it look really photorealistic if you want to. But we actually quite like this style while it looks a bit abnormal and a bit more artistic. But yeah, that's one of like the main advantages for me of using like text to image, and your creative ideas can run wild.
Okay, we're going to skip things forward and now just show you a clear example of using Midjourney AI for a creative campaign we did this Christmas for a well-known drinks company. The things really to look at within this demonstration are continuity of shots. Okay, it's quite difficult to get continuity of shots. You can spend a lot of time in front of Midjourney rerunning the prompts for the image. And then there is some post-production involved afterwards in order to get everything to look cohesive. So keep this in mind whilst you watch this. And really, it's just a good demonstration of using Midjourney. And the only thing other than Midjourney is me and Siobhan, which was shot in traditional video against green screen. So as we can see, there's entry shots. I'm going to skip forward because we've not got sound, unfortunately. Then we're able to compile everything else. And like I say, from a business point of view, the cost reduction must be about, I'd say, 40 to 60% against traditional advertisement.
And we didn't have to decorate a Christmas tree this year, which was absolutely fabulous to not have a Christmas tree up in October, wasn't it?
Yeah. And this brings us on to some of the other tools as well. So we're going to talk about Runway 2, which is an image manipulation tool. We're seeing this technology come forward now in many other things like Sora and Leonardo. What you can do is you can essentially put the image directly into the web browser and then select areas for manipulation, and it will work out how to move it. So we've got an image here that was generated in Midjourney, and this represents jellyfish. We were working towards a trend on Pinterest. And we were quite easily able to place Siobhan within the scene, and then with Runway 2 it manipulates the entire background, and this is a really quick way to generate dynamic content for social media, and it really opens some of the doors for people that don't have the video skills in order to do it. So again,
and it just brought it completely to life. This was for Pinterest Predicts, which they release at the end of every year, and for 2024 they did one for Bee Jelly, so we just got creative. And I mean, the results, I was absolutely amazed when we did this, and it was literally a click of a button, isn't it, James?
Yeah. So we'll quickly just whiz over some of the advantages and maybe challenges around content. You're going to hear the word ChatGPT probably today a lot. I'm going to be honest, we've used it very early on, and we actually stopped using it. And the reason I'm sharing this is because whilst it's fantastic as a tool for productivity, you can do scheduling within it, pretty much everything can be done. Unless you're paying for the premium version, it's actually quite historical, the data set that it's using to reference. And this can cause some problems. It's a great starting point for any task, I would say, but it's not always the finished product.
I think it's really good. Someone the other day was saying that they used ChatGPT to create a system, like a schedule to clean their house, and she was absolutely loving that. But in our world, we used it to like help us like write scripts. So we were like write a script for like cleaning in the style of Wes Anderson, and it becomes like quite dry and quite repetitive. So it definitely needs that like human touch to put your own slant on it, doesn't it?
If we're talking about tone of voice, it just simply doesn't have the capability to do it, and unfortunately you might disconnect your audience by using it in that sense from like a verbatim point of view. I would certainly say as a starting point it's recommended, but I would err on the side of caution using it as a full creative tool.
Yeah.
So we've got another quick example as we hustle through this. Again, the majority of stuff that we use is Midjourney. We are using other tools, and I just want to make clear that basically this is text to prompt. We also use text to video. Whilst that's good, there's a couple of tools that are coming out in the near future that are excellent, but they're not quite here yet. But one of the things we'd highlight really about the challenges and disadvantages of using AI is the fact that in order to get a cohesive look, you have to go into other softwares. And in order to get all of the things working, let's say in terms of a production for creative work, you're pretty much going all over the internet and using this tool and that tool. And I could list a long list of tools, but it really wouldn't help you, I don't feel. Some of the things that are happening now within, like, let's say the larger software developers, especially like Adobe, they're working to mobile first software systems such as Adobe Express, and we're going to highlight this later on because really as a production tool for creating content, not only content on a daily and regular basis of high quality that is, it's really a tool that's going to, I'd say, bring a lot of the AI technologies into one place. So it's going to be highly effective. There will be text to video, there will be text to audio, there will be text to text. So there will be pretty much every prompt-based system from a creative world within it. There's also going to be a full video editor, maybe not as good as maybe some of the DaVinci Resolves or Premiere Pros or very professional video editor linear systems out there, but still definitely enough to create high-quality content. We'll be highlighting that in more detail in a second, but we'll play another quick example of us using AI technology within social media. This was a little creative piece we did around a set of Moomin pajamas, but everything in there apart from Siobhan is AI generated. There is quite a heavy amount of post-production in video editing software. We'd like to...
Yeah, but it's important to note that like the assets we've got from Midjourney, so instead of having to like pay for royalty-free assets that we can use online or use especially when we create advertisements, it is now possible for us to like create a look that we can then use and like cut out these assets and use them as creatively as I want. So as James said, like there is like a lot of skill involved in getting to that final video. Obviously AI did not create that whole video, but it's a great tool to help us get there.
Yeah, highlighting the fact that professionals still have jobs, I'd say for like the next
for the moment
3 to 5 years before this technology really takes up and is as disruptive as it potentially could be. But there's definitely a lot of opportunity for people that don't have creative skills, and you can certainly maximize the potential for social media content at the very least, maintaining the high level of output that's needed. I certainly think that these tools are essential to all of that. Now, it brings us on to... Sorry, do you want to jump in?
No, go on.
It brings us on to the tool that we've probably been leading towards. Now, we were involved in the beta of this project. They're currently releasing the mobile-first version, and I think this tool will become industry standard in many ways. This is Adobe Express, and in terms of making content for everyday businesses, small to medium enterprises, I think this will be absolutely game changing. So this is a quick talk through, and Siobhan's going to whiz through what it is.
I am. So Adobe Express, I think, is going to be, if you own a small business, just pause there, James. If you own a small business, it is going to be so powerful for you. It's coming to mobile. You can put in your brand colors, you can put in your brand logos, you can AI, so it's got text to image, you generate images and detailed text. It's got generative fill, which we touched on earlier, so you can like take out bits of your image that you don't like anymore and replace it or add something new in there. It's got text to template. So yesterday I was like, I own a shoe shop, create a sale poster. So if you are constantly, I know that people that upload content to social media and work for a business, it's like being a social media manager is one person's job, but normally you're doing like 100 other things as well. So this is just going to make everything so much quicker, and it's all going to be in one place. You can schedule content in there. You can also create text effects by putting in, I would like sand text. Yesterday I was playing around with it and I was like doing like an inflated text, and you can do whatever you want. You can animate. And James is definitely the person that's way more technical in our twosome. But for me, this is so easy for doing like really, really creative, like eye-catching stories. And then say you do a story, you can then make it into a TikTok, and it like changes the size for you automatically. So no more messing around with dimensions and things like that.
Yeah, so I'll just jump in there, and we've got some great examples on screen to show you. So within the suite, this is text-to-text, essentially decoration, if you would, or changing the font style. So quite quickly, we've got a pop-up shop as the text we've initially put in. Then you add the prompt in as purple gloss balloon, and then instantly it's changing it. And now you can hold all of this within your Adobe account as well. So you can hold your own branding, you can put your own branding colors, branding logos, and it will also recommend colors that work with those palettes as well. So in terms of a tool to manipulate your already existing branding, it's incredibly powerful. We can move forward through this and we'll just describe what's on the screen. So again, more text to image, and these are like little graphical elements. It gives you access to over 20,000 stock photo elements. You can also bring in all of the elements from the Adobe wider suite. So that means Illustrator, Photoshop, anything produced within Rush and things like that, which are small video editing tools, again with AI capabilities. But it's really, really, really powerful. The beta will be released shortly on mobile. But like I say, this is definitely game changing. Siobhan referenced the ability to change aspect ratio. It holds your design and will change aspect ratio, so it will cover all of your different outputs across all the different platforms in the click of a button. So it's so powerful. Just in terms of time and getting content out, you can make one design and then it will manipulate that for you directly. So what we're seeing is, whilst there's a wide spread of creative tools on the market, this is bringing them into one place, and that's why it's so powerful, and that's why we're pretty much raving about it in this little presentation
we're very impressed, as you can tell. But yeah, it's I think if I owned a small business that had a product to sell, I think this is so powerful and so easy to use. It's very user friendly.
So we're going to finish, and you may or may not have finished or looked or seen rather the future of where this is going. Sora is one of the video tools, and I think we've got some video production guys on this call today. I think your jobs are quite safe for the time being. Like I said, you don't need to worry just yet. But with all of that said, the capability of this technology is huge. We've seen most of the large language model systems have really come along in the last 10 years, and they've really accelerated within the last, I'd say, maybe 5 to 3 years. So really, we're seeing huge amounts of exponential growth within this technology in this field over the last 24 months, let's say. And now we're starting to see professional video coming forward. Now, the only caveat is basically being able to direct it, and this is where it falls down. So it's pretty much useless as a tool in terms of creating advertisements for people without skill set prior, in terms of video production, directing, producing, etc. But I would say within maybe another 12 months, maybe not even that, we're going to have capabilities similar to Adobe Express, but within video.
And this is either going to terrify you or it's going to excite you, depending on where you sit, really.
So this is
Yeah.
the prompt that was put into the software. And then this is what it produced.
That's not a real human.
So again, it gives very much a Hollywood style feel, but in terms of quality, and that's really what we're touching on, in terms of the quality of the image, it's absolutely outstanding. Now, there are problems with it, and those that are eagle-eyed will see certain problems. We just got a couple more of these to share with you, and then we're done. But again, another prompt, and again, all of the technologies that we're sharing with you today, whilst they cover text, image, video, or maybe other processing elements of production to get, let's say, a media package done, including logos, etc., they're all based on this simple prompting technology where you would add a prompt and then it would produce a piece of content, so to speak. Okay, so we have this as another example. Again, 100% AI. This software is going to be released shortly again, along with
it's not out yet.
Adobe Express. It's
Yeah.
from OpenAI. And this is, I mean, Adobe and OpenAI are probably the most prominent figures alongside maybe some of the big tech giants that we're all aware of, Google, etc., and NVIDIA, and they're leading the way. I'd quickly just point out there is an added cost to this, and we mentioned this before, but I mean, there's still lots of free little startups on the internet. So if you want to work out how to do something online, usually a Google search will get you super close to that. I mean, you still have to be able to join the dots in post-production. But let's say you want to manipulate an image. Runway 2 gives you free credits for the time being. So you'll probably be able to do a couple of social media posts if you wanted to. So yeah, there's lots of options online. And then last one, and then we are done. So again, it's covering not only cinematic work, but also it's getting into animation in a big way. We're starting to use it within animation within our work. And yeah, the results kind of speak for themselves.
So yeah,
So we hope it clearly demonstrates the power of
what's to come.
creative tools and using prompt technology to, well, hopefully generate some social media content, which is what we do. The future looks really exciting, kind of scary at the same time, but there's huge amounts of possibility for businesses to take advantage of. And I hope we've maybe got you excited and got you enthusiastic about using prompt to any sort of creative output for social media.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I want that otter. I want to take him home. Thank you so much. I've been adding into the chat some of the links of the different platforms you've been mentioning. So if anyone wants to just have a look at chat, and you can get those links there. I forgot to say at the beginning, if anyone's got a question, please put it into the Q&A, because we can read them out. I know that we can't see you or hear you, but the Q&A is there. So I'm happy to read out any questions as we go along.
Rachel, I'll just jump in quickly, sorry.
Of course.
We're more than happy to share a very long list of websites or services that we use in producing our work. We just didn't want to rattle through an entire long list, which wouldn't necessarily be as constructive as maybe some of the things we did. Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I think what we'll do after this session is the recording we will share via email. So maybe we could share that list of links at the same time.
Yes,
so everyone can have a play around. There's so much fun to be had. So I'm going to suggest that we move on to Sinead next for her top tips. Again, as we go along, please add questions as you wish. But could I ask you to stop sharing your screen, and then we'll hand over to Sinead.
This is when we show you how bad we are at Zoom. We can do all these crazy things.
Adobe, yes. Zoom.
Adobe, Zoom, not so much. Yay.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Right, Sinead, over to you.
Hello, hi. Thank you very much for adding me to the panel this morning. So I've just got a couple of minutes, really, 5 minutes to talk about myself and my experiences with AI. Thank you, Siobhan and James. Brilliant presentation. And I think what really highlights is the power of AI None of those projects that you shared would be possible without your brains attached to them. And I think it's really important to make that point, that AI shouldn't be something that's feared. I think it's something that is a really useful tool. We need to keep an eye on it, but it is got such potential and possibility. For my background, for those who don't know, I am a content and communications consultant, but I'm also a content creator. So half my time I work with clients. I've worked in social media and comms for many years. In-house with agencies as freelance. I run Visit Canterbury at the moment. But in my other half of my job is I'm a content creator, so I'm a podcaster, so I work with podcast and audio every single week, and I'm also a content creator on TikTok too. So the tools that I use for AI, I'm hearing more and more every single day of people sending me through tips, and I completely appreciate the fear probably some content people have from the inside of being in an organization, particularly agencies as well. When AI was first spoken about, people were saying, "Oh, this is going to take our jobs, and we can't be using this," and completely rejecting it. And I think that's a very bad idea, because it is coming. It is going to be really at the forefront of a lot of comms and content in the future. For me at the moment, the way I use it, it is an incredibly useful tool, and it saves me time. So the different ones that I use in my content creation, because I'm a podcaster, I use a program called Descript. So when I have recorded my audio for an episode, I can feed this into Descript within a matter of minutes. It gives me an entire script of everything that I've said, but not just the script. I can use that script to edit the audio. So rather than me looking at waveforms, which I've had to do up until the day, I can cut out bits of text, I can trim it really to perfection. And that saves me about an hour each week. It's still an editing process, but that hour is invaluable to have back. I also use, when I'm video editing podcasts as well, when you're interviewing, when you're doing interviews and you've got a 2-camera setup, having to do that back and forth cutting was taking me good 2 or 3 hours. There is a program called Autopod, which I can feed into Adobe Premiere. It takes 2 or 3 hours of work and transforms it into about 4 minutes of being able to do those cuttings. I still will go through all of my work and check it and tweak it and make sure that it's perfect to my standard, but the time saved using some of these AI programs is invaluable. One of my skills, and one of the things that I'm hired most for, is as a copywriter. I am a strong copywriter. It is one of my biggest talents. But ChatGTP is there, and thank you, James, for your points about ChatGTP earlier on. It is a useful tool. I know many colleagues and people that I work with who use ChatGTP as a starting point to run their content through it, to get a framework, but then they're going to apply the sparkle, the sizzle, whatever you want to call it. I will sometimes do that, but then I have to apply Sinead's brain to it and transform that into something that is appropriate for my clients, or that I think is of a good standard. So it is incredibly useful for time saving. As I said, it doesn't replace talent, but it is there to help make your jobs easier, particularly in terms of, graphic design. I've been able to create photos and graphics for my podcast that I would have had no help at chance of creating solo. And even if I'd gone to a photographer, it would have been near impossible for them to create something that I needed, because I have a Victoriana podcast about poison and about cocktails, and I need it to have a certain style and a certain look. And to create that, yes, if I had a massive budget, I could do something completely different. But to give me a starting point is really, really valuable. I think that AI has the ability to up people's games and companies to see the process behind it. I think is important. I've had experiences as well of bad AI. I have seen AI not working. Sometimes I tried to build a website the other day and was like, "Oh, would you like AI help?" And I looked at what it did and just went, "Oh, good Lord, no, 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 no." There's some very scary stuff about voice work as well with AI, which I could chat about for ages, but that's more of a podcaster's thing. Be careful when you get phone calls from people you know. That's all I'm going to say there. But on that scary note, I do think it's important to keep an eye on the changes in AI, keep an eye on the news about AI, but be adaptable to using it. I'm always around if anyone needs extra information. In Canterbury, you have a huge amount of great freelancers and great people on this panel as well, whose services would only be enhanced by AI, but also they are there and their brains are available for you too. That's me, I think.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sinead. As Sinead mentioned, she does some fantastic work for us with Visit Canterbury, and has really sort of helped shape it since we took it over in November 2022. So what I will do after this session is I will also share contact details should you wish to discuss future support from anyone on the panel. So I will make sure that that happens. So next over to Lauren, please.
Good morning, all. So I'm Lauren. I'm the Marketing Communications Manager at Howden. I've only just joined a couple months ago, so still learning the ropes there. But it's just to say, from an SME side, our commercial team are there to help businesses thrive with their insurance needs. My background is started off in PR, and then I've kind of edged over to marketing and also internal comms. But it's just to say that actually AI has been around for quite a while, and one of the longest using tools that I've been using is Grammarly. We're all busy. We all need it to, sometimes just check, see if we miss out a word on emails. It will prompt you about if you've missed out a 2 or an A. But it's a great one just to sense check when you're really super busy. Don't use it as total truth, because if you have the free version, it sets it to American English automatically. So obviously, it misses out U's on colourful and all those types of ones. But it's a good sense check just to make sure that you're happy with either what you're writing in your emails, on Word, in presentations, but it also picks up prompts on when you're using Microsoft or Google. So that's just a great little tool to kind of use. Other tools that you've probably been using and predominantly use have also got AI built into them, and it's really maximizing when they have new OpenAI suggestions built in. So like, for instance, with MailChimp, there's new options on there about suggestions on how what your email header should be. Try them, see if they work. The other options that you have that you can use, for them is their reports around when's the best time to send them. And actually they are really intuitive, and they can really help you push your email marketing alongwards. So just give it a go. There's a new tool called Lavender that I've been looking at from a new business perspective, and it is designed to try and help you craft your emails for when you're pitching out cold for new business or people maybe you've met at a conference. It's not something I've used, it's just something I've been looking at from a new business perspective, but it's definitely, they're new tools that you can always have a look at and see, do you need it? Is it worth it? Could it help you with your ROI on that perspective? Another tool which does have a cost associated to it is Hootsuite for social media. It's great. It's come a long way from just putting in a post that you create with an image that you already have to, now having options in there, integrations with Lately, for instance. So you could put a podcast in and it will create a whole suite of posts for you. Like everyone's been saying on here, though, don't use what's created in AI as truth. Give it your own personality. And I think that's a really big thing to come through. Brits love a pun. It's always seemed to work, or a bit of cheekiness. So, bring that in, and an AI tool can't necessarily do that. Sometimes it misses the mark on that perspective. So really, from a Hootsuite perspective, on that side, it also analyzes in the back end your posts. When do people come online? When do people, best engage with you? And all that information means actually you might be, if you post every day, your audience may be less likely to engage with you. But if you post every other day, your reporting tools will help you understand when are the best times to post and when not to post. So let the AI do the heavy lifting on that perspective for you. It's been mentioned, ChatGPT. Again, don't use it as truth, use it as a tool to help you. I've used it for SEO optimization. So if you have a website that you think actually there's a web page that isn't performing that great on, then run an A/B test. You put the copy in there. If you're happy for the copy to be put into ChatGPT, there's just a note on that front. Only put in information or copy that you maybe want refreshing if you're happy for that content to then be used in the back end of ChatGPT. So don't put in sensitive information to do with your business or other bits of information you might not want out there. But from an SEO side, you might find if you put copy in, existing copy in, or blogs, just to give it that refreshing up. But again, as Sinead said, do have a read through it. Don't copy and paste. And I know people, from just off a slight tangent, but people have applied for jobs on my teams before and copy and pasted copy from ChatGPT, and it it has errors in it, let's say, that they should have proofread before they sent it. So always proofread. But also from a photography side, I know time is precious, photography is expensive, but really, even from my side, when we're going out doing sponsorships or events, it's something that I'd like us to have to hand. But a Google phone, you know, we've all seen the advert whereby it takes one person's face from one picture, another person's face from another picture, and you can merge them together, and happy days, you've got everyone all looking in the same position and everyone's all smiling, and it's the best picture ever. So if you are you know, if you need content, live images from events, whatever it might be, but actually you don't necessarily have the capacity to always have a photographer come along, then a Google phone could be potentially an option for you. It seems to have, so at the moment, the best AI options for photography, but obviously that always changes. Samsung's always developing, Apple's always developing, and you've got other brands obviously out there as well. But from just from talking with our designers, that one seems to be the best option so far. So they're just a few tools and tips that I've used in everyday life that I can continue to use, and that definitely you should look at to or optimize what you're using already really effectively. So that's kind of my key takeaways.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Lauren. Does anyone else on the panel have a Google phone or has used it? No. This might be oh, Sinead? Ronnie? Yes. Excellent. Well, I'm moving on to you anyway, so you can add your thoughts on the Google phone.
Hi everyone, I'm Bryony, aka B. I'm a marketing consultant. I've worked in-house at arts galleries, museums, and in my freelance capacity, I've worked across tourism, social sector, and I work with charities, small businesses, and social enterprises. I've been grappling with AI for the last, couple of years, but as Lauren said, it's been in a lot of what we've been using for a long time. It's just now very much more open to the public. So they've covered quite a lot of the tools that I'm already using. But I just wanted to touch on some of the things really to remember when you're approaching AI. So, I think, Sinead, you mentioned this, AI is tasks, it's not roles, it's not going to completely replace people. That human touch and creative sparkle will always be needed, and that critical thinking as well. So it's really being mindful about AI, and it's about how you can use it effectively and efficiently. So it's working out what's right for you. Where are your skills gaps? How can you upskill teams? How can you save time to really then have more time to do the creative aspects of your work? And it's kind of like when computers replace the typewriter. So it's similar to that, really. And we forget about the typewriter now, just rely on computers. So play and experiment and don't fear it. But if in doubt, leave it out. Lauren made a really good point about being mindful about what you're actually putting into these AI tools. There is something around ethics and regulations. We've all seen it with social media that a lot of regulations weren't in place to start off with. So it's just being really mindful about that. So maybe it's a chat with your teams, or if you're running your small business, what's right for you ethically. In terms of useful tools that haven't already been mentioned, Canva, of course, has its Magic Studio. I know a lot of people use that. I use it heavily with my clients because you can also share across those. So in terms of, you can have it as prompts for promotional copy. It can generate images, text prompts to image. But again, use that critical thinking for that. There's Otter AI, which is also a transcription service. It can help with podcasts. It can help with meetings. You can use it on Zoom Teams. There's Google GPT for Sheets and Docs. So if you have your data analysis, you can put it in, and then it can push out, kind of your key insights, but also visualizations for that. So that can be really time saving. There's also Ask Your PDF. So if you've got a massive report to read, it's like reductive AI. You can shove it into the AI, and then it can give you the top salient points from that, so that can really help in terms of that reading. Obviously, that's going to be the AI's choice of what's important, but it could be a starting point, and especially if you need to know a summary to help with what you're doing. And then if you need help finding an AI, then the website there's an AI-for-that.com can be helpful. I was looking at a recent study by Tech Republic, and the most popular marketing uses for generative AI currently are content creation at 46%, code development. So if you don't know a piece of code or to help you with that in terms of your website, you can put that into AI, which is really useful, or teach yourself. So my friend who works a lot in VR and AR has used AI to teach herself a lot of skills, which could be useful. And of course, analytics. So I just wanted to cover a few ways that you can use AI to support your marketing in terms of what the benefits are. So content ideas and creation can be really strong for that. It can help you prompt for your strategy. I'd err on the side of, always use that human touch and critical thinking, of course. Campaign asset automation, as Lauren and Sinead mentioned, you can be creating your assets using it as prompts, but also you can be using it for scheduling, which is really handy and time saving. You can create your presentations from scratch and make that really effective and easy. Alt text for images. So something that isn't spoken a lot about AI is accessibility, but accessibility is really, really important. So I think it's just remembering that, but you can use those automated tools to help you. We've mentioned copywriting. I use Grammarly, have done for years, and I find that really, really useful. And in terms of copywriting, I find that a lot stronger than ChatGPT. So I'd urge people to use that, and you've got a free and paid for option there. In terms of audience profiling, you could be putting prompts in for personas, such as build a persona for a donor for a charity that helps homeless people rebuild their lives. The goal is to create more effective fundraising campaign using digital marketing, blah, 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 blah. So you could be getting prompts for audience personas, especially if you're not working in marketing already, to help you with your business, because you should always be thinking about the audience first. Crisis comms, you could be posing scenarios to AI of what journalists might be asking you, what might come up, what would the responses be. And Sinead, you covered around podcasts really well, but podcasts are growing, they're very popular, but you can be using that, of course. And you can use it to rank the most engaging elements of a podcast as well, the audiences might find interesting. There's a few cons, I think, just and challenges to think of, is that lack of critical thinking. ChatGPT, especially the free version, I find can be somewhat useful, but actually sometimes it does churn out not the most useful, say, copy or creative ideas. So I would look further afield for that. Brand voice consistency, tone of voice for your organization is really important. And I think it's about having that decided already and including that in your prompts rather than relying on the AI to provide you with that. Ethics, Lauren touched on that. Is there something around copyright and transparency? What data are you putting in? GDPR, don't put any personal information or data in there. There's something around kind of misinformation and that battle for truth. So brand reputation is really important. So it's just being mindful about how you're using AI and what it's giving back to you. It is unregulated, and I would always say it's a tool, not necessarily the full end result, because you definitely need that human element. And would you disclose that you've used AI? Do people disclose that they use Google? But it's a big question, especially in the comms arena at the moment. So I think it's having a policy or approach to how you use AI and updating that with developments could be really helpful. It's not the sexy side of AI, but I think, like social media, it could cause issues down the line. So they're my top tips.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Bryony. Does anyone on the panel want to add to the comments that we've had so far? Any further thoughts? No? So I've taken away 4 things. I'm just going to go through my list. I mean, I've taken away a lot of things, and I've also put lots and lots of links in the chat, so everyone can help themselves to the links. number one thing, so don't be scared. They're not going to take our jobs just yet. I think that's what I'm hearing, and that the human touch is still essential. That's very reassuring. If in doubt, leave it out. I'll keep that in mind. Don't use it as truth, use it as a tool. So we're looking at how it can support us rather than just taking anything that we get from it straight away. And I think it was Lauren that said, always proofread. Definitely. Although Grammarly has been very helpful in my life. It's changed the way I write. So thank you. That's all fantastic. And I think really interesting to look at that, the sort of the fact that we're going into that sort of what is the truth question as well. You know, when we see things now online, what is the truth? But actually, just to go back to just a uniform, sometimes it's not about the truth, it's about the imagination, it's sparking the imagination, and that's what creating is all about, isn't it? I was wondering, just a uniform for the two of you, when you create a post, I know you said that obviously now you don't need to go out, you don't need to worry about the rain, you can get everything all in-house, but how long does it take you to produce say one of those the shorter videos?
So okay, each project's taken on an individual basis, but I would probably say we're talking maybe 2 to 3 days in terms of the actual work, if we condensed everything down to working days. But if we just touch upon the human element for a second, we probably put about maybe just over a week into our projects in terms of giving us thoughtful space in terms of thinking and making sure we're making the right decisions. This tech you can move incredibly quickly without a question. I mean, a great example of this would be how people are hacking Midjourney at the moment for large worldwide commercial campaigns. And with one single prompt, they're able to produce up to 800 images. And then those images are sold, and then it's at the will of the business to use them as they want to. But
we saw a really good example, didn't we, with like a burger chain, and they created AI imagery for like of a burger, but then they changed it depending on where it was in the world, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's getting quite advanced into the prompting side of it, and like I say, there's a little bit of hacking to do within Midjourney to get it, but no doubt that sort of technology will filter down and become more accessible to everybody else. The inclusion of text within the image creation services is really the game changer in all of this, because by doing so you remove many more steps and you're able to include that text within the image. But yeah, I mean, a single image could be produced within under an hour, and then a video project, depending on its complexity, anything from maybe 2 to 3 days, I would say, something along those lines.
Brilliant. Okay, so anyone watching who's because I know we've got a real mixture of people who are part of this webinar today, and hopefully sort of we're not expecting everyone to go away and spend 3 days creating amazing video content, but hopefully some of this will be able to sort of feed into your own branding and the way you post. If I'm going to ask each of you in turn, if you could only choose one platform with AI in it to use, because obviously we've gone through quite a few, which platform is your key, most essential platform to use? So, I mean, first of all, to James and Siobhan.
Well, I'd say Midjourney at the moment, but you're going to say something else.
Yeah, I'm going to say Express.
So that's two of you. You can have two.
Just quickly, some of the points that were mentioned earlier on, Express is combining literally everything. So the Hootsuite element that people talked about, you've got a scheduler within it. So it's a hugely competent piece of software, and it's combining lots of those elements that we've referenced throughout today, all of us collectively, and it's bringing it to one. And I imagine, whilst it might not be Adobe, there will be another one in the coming months and weeks that will be hugely competent again.
It's a one-stop shop.
So they're all of the big tech companies are essentially looking to bring it to. I'd say Express, just to quickly answer.
But Midjourney for you, Siobhan.
Yeah, just because if Adobe's listening, it's Adobe Express. But if with I just really like the imagery that Midjourney produces. Basically, I really like how my ideas in my head, which once like literally were like couldn't happen now in Midjourney.
It's the best of the image creation tools.
I love it. I love how visual it is, and sometimes I'll create things like the other day. I was just like thinking up, we were doing some stuff for Apple, and I was thinking up some scenes, and I created this like pink bar. No, I created this like pink beauty bar, and I just put it on stories just because we weren't actually going to use it because the perspective wasn't correct. But I put it on stories, and people were like, "Oh my goodness, where is this?" And this is the thing. People are constantly in my inbox being like, "Where is this?" And I'm like, "It's from my brain, and AI." And
back to the truth.
Back to the truth. And there's a lot of things on the internet that I don't know why. Sometimes I just let it go. But the people are like, "Oh my word, this place looks amazing." I'm like, "This is AI. Like, none of this is real." And people think it is. Actually, people have actually asked me where the location of things are before. And because it looks so good and so real.
Slightly terrifying note to end on. Nothing's real. All right.
But it's good. For
So
creativity.
a fair amount of disappointment, but hey, at least it showcased your brain.
Yeah.
So that's great. Fantastic. So same question to you, Sinead.
Mine's going to be a diplomatic, slightly Machiavellian answer, probably, actually. If it was only one, because it's a bit like, oh, choose your favorite food or child or something. If it was only one, it probably would be Canva, or, now you've actually mentioned Adobe Effects, because while Descript, the stuff that I use for my podcast, I use this every single weekend as a time saver. I do know how to do it analog, as it were. I do know how to do that. Grammarly, it's amazing, but my job is to do that too. So if it was taken away, then yes, I would have to put more thought into it and do that. I think, Canva and Adobe Express, those sorts of ones, it's not a skill set that I have, that I can't fake that. And being able to create posts quickly and those graphics in a proper way, in a really good format, that is essential to me, because it is a skill set I could not replicate.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Lauren, over to you.
So I've just moved into internal comms full time. So I guess my biggest tool that I'm using that AI is always developing for is Microsoft. I know that's a really boring one, but I'm quite excited about Open Editor coming. I'm always using the page diagnostics for the intranet on SharePoint, and just all the AI bits that they're starting to kind of really start to build out. So I guess it's really now dependent on what my new job role is. So so Microsoft, that's a really unsexy one. So apologies.
Well, I mean, Siobhan was nodding and smiling, so she obviously thinks it's very sexy. There we go.
I mean, Microsoft own pretty much most of OpenAI in various ways, so it's the biggest player in the field, or one of them at least.
Brilliant. And Bryony?
I'm going to echo what Sinead said, actually, because Canva's been such a game changer and actually such a great tool, and something that you and your client, for me, my clients and I can use together. And when I'm mentoring, say, young people in their organisation or emerging marketer, I think that's been really, really powerful. And again, developed my skill set. I mean, Grammarly, I've been using for years. I would say that's really, really helpful, especially if you're not trained in that marketing copywriting. I do think that's really useful. And Rachel, like you said, even if you are, it can help you improve, because the speed of which we're creating content compared to years and years is like, I started my career writing web code and print. There wasn't such, but the speed of which you're doing things, there's something around having that check and balance as well, in terms of, your grammar and your spelling and across all your platforms, which is helpful. But yeah, Canva's really useful. I do feel like I'm getting my just desserts for kind of all the times I said to a designer, can you just move the text a bit to the right, and all the proofing stages. So
I have to say, I think from my perspective, Canva has been an absolute godsend. And one of those reasons, and it's not that I've stopped using designers at all, I still use designers for a lot of work. It means that I can actually create something that's in my head very roughly and send that over and say, I want something like this, but better. And then a professional eye can look at it. So it's not removed the next level of the job at all, but it's just really helped kind of ease communications. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Sinead, go ahead.
This is just really, really quickly, if you'll permit me, but it was something that James said earlier. It's something that Siobhan said to me in a separate conversation, I think, a while ago, and others that have been reflected in what Bryony just said there. It's the space to think, and it's a message to businesses too. And if I could say that message to sort of corporate businesses or even the bigger ones, is that the space to think, the time to think, while we are talking about all these time-saving tools, that is still vital. It is vital to give yourself the time to assess all of the AI, to look through it, but also to give yourself that creative space. And I think more so, we may see businesses, we may see companies, and if you are an employee, you may see certain people in that business going, AI can do it like that, get it done, get it done. That sort of pressure, get it all sorted, get it really fast, because it can be done so fast. But you must factor in that time to assess it and to think and to continue to be creative. It doesn't take that away. If you are looking at this with your teams, please remember to give them that time. And if you are thinking about it, again, working with people, keep that time so sacred. It's absolutely vital.
Really, thank you. And Bryony, go ahead.
Yeah, and just on that, I think, I think a lot about for in my field, those emerging marketers and comms people, who will be coming through with AI already there. And I think there is still a strong case for learning those skills really well and not just relying on the tools. And I think, I feel that's, in some way my duty to encourage those skills development as well, and that critical thinking and human touch. And I think it's not forgetting that. I don't think it will completely replace roles, but I think it will shift and change. We've already seen that over the last 20-30 years anyway. But yeah, it's just you've still got to factor in that skills development, but it's a really exciting time.
Well, thank you. Oh, Lauren, do you want to, we've got a minute.
Just really quick on it, just
Yeah,
to say, I'd love to hear tips and tricks from Siobhan and James on the best way to do prompts for image creation on Midjourney, because that's something that, as you're learning it and it's coming out, is you have to teach yourself. So it would be great to hear if there's any follow-ups from you both about top tips and tricks on how to do, the prompts effectively.
So, Midjourney now, I know before we started this, you'd mentioned Discord, but Midjourney have now launched on their own site. Is it?
Yeah, so it's currently an alpha tester, which will be released to public.
Yes, soon, I imagine. That is a game changer, because I used to spend hours what I used to do is I used to get 3 references. So I'd be like, I'd from completely different spheres of trying to get something that is my own, still like an artist, and using different inspirations. So because obviously plagiarism can be a major factor in this, trying to steal somebody else's art and just regurgitate it. But now what you can do in Midjourney Alpha, which will be coming, you can put an image in that you like the stylize of, and it can you can go in between the stylistic reference. So now I used to spend, and this is the thing about giving yourself space, I used to go in and be like, oh, I've got this in my head, and it never, some days I'd be like, I've nailed this, and I get it straight away. And then other days I spend the whole day running prompts and running up our credits, which James shouts at me about. And then it just have pages and pages of stuff that I don't like. Now you can put in an image and it's a lot more accurate at giving you what you want. So it's becoming a bit less about what you write and a bit more about what you put into it, image wise.
So just to add to that quickly, Midjourney, DALL-E, and various other prompt-based systems, photography language is very important within these. We've found it doesn't reference all of them, but it can be incredibly helpful to use photography language when it comes to maybe the style of shot you would like. So
Martin Parr,
medium portrait, or something along those lines. Okay, or ultra wide. You can sometimes reference f-stops as well, but sometimes it doesn't actually apply those. So blurring and things like that can be a bit of a nuisance to get that modern look and feel to an image. But really, aspect ratios will be listened to. General cinematography language. So if you look, if you Google, there's many prompting sort of it's essentially a syntax. So some of us come from a programming background on this panel, and essentially it's a syntax. If you're using it within the Discord server, it's very much like a syntax, and you can actually go into the settings and hack it further So you can ask it to always push forward the remix options, which is an advanced level of producing the image. It just gives you more options in terms of how it stylistically looks, and you've got then access to the various models that it's using as well. So we're currently on, I think, version 6.
Yep.
And obviously there's the alpha system that Siobhan's been referencing, which will come to the public shortly. But yeah, I would say cinematography language, and then if you really want to get the most out of it, go into the settings and open up the remix settings, so it always forces you to choose the various settings, but learning the syntax is the way to do it.
Yeah, and a quick Google search will, like, James is from a coding background, but I'm not, and I've learned so much about like how the language works. So sometimes I'll just go in and just find out what other people are doing, and then that's how I found out about the remixing, and then like just go and copy and paste their code basically into it and see what happens. Yeah,
and just quick one last final point: the way the alpha system's going to work. You've all mentioned plagiarizing, and I think it's been brought up in terms of copyright issues. Just to say, legally, there is no copyright implication whatsoever with regards to using AI systems at the moment. There's no implication at all. There's lots of dispute about it, but legally, there's nothing set in stone. So you're free to do as you wish on these systems, which is a bit like the Wild West. I completely agree, but at the moment, there's no implication at all.
I think we could keep talking all day, and I love it because it's like, oh, and this and this, and this has been a brilliant session. Thank you, everyone. And I think the thing we have to remember is that AI has been around for decades, right? It's been around for more than half a century. It's of course become massively more sophisticated, which is why we're talking about it now, and we're alert to the concerns around it. And I think the conversation around integrity and intellectual property has been really interesting as well. But ultimately, what we're trying to do, the vast majority of the time, is through our marketing and comms, getting people to engage with real life. So the end journey of what we're trying to do using these tools is to get people to buy a product or service, or to show up and engage and enjoy an experience that is only a human experience. And that's, and this is just, why wouldn't we use these tools? So really excited about that. Thank you to Siobhan and James and Lauren and Sinead and Bryony and Rachel. Fantastic session today. Bye, everyone.